transporting.
Is it different for someone like you going on Netflix because you have shows on Netflix? So when Corin goes on Netflix, he might see himself. When we go on Netflix, well, we don't see ourselves.
You might see yourself and banged up abroad one day.
Yeah, maybe.
If all goes well. No, I'm not all over it.
Not yet.
Well, that's the spirit.
But you were all over BBC iPlayer.
Was I? Well, the show was.
The show was, yeah, which is you. And you're in the trailers, you're in behind the scenes. I've seen everything.
Nice.
Done my research.
That's good. Cheers, mate. You've seen more than me, I tell you.
I've noticed that about actors. They don't always watch their stuff back.
No, mate, I cringe my head off.
But why?
I don't know. Just
what if you
it's some psychological condition for sure.
What if you get an award for this? You get an award for this show, and in 20 years, do you never just think like, I want to watch where it all started? Because this was your first.
Yeah, well, that's in 20 years then, so maybe
in 20 minutes.
Yeah, no, I mean maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Maybe do you know what might be something? Maybe when they're all finished, I could watch them all back to back.
Oh wow!
Binge it.
Binge the Corin Silva life in movies and TV.
God, that's classic.
That is kind of
that's classic actor material. That is.
Yeah, I get what you mean though, because after post-production, I never watch or listen to my podcast.
Yeah, well, you were there. I was there. You know, we were. You don't need to. You're living in the past. You know what I mean? Whereas if you're watching someone else's movie or listening to someone else's podcast, that is just like you're just transported into a world, and you can go back to that world whenever you want and listen to it again or watch it again. Like, you know, rewatching great movies. But I couldn't rewatch a great movie. I wouldn't probably think a movie I'm in is great because you'll just be thinking about, you know, what you had for lunch as well, and how nervous you were on that day, or how that day was a very sad one.
And you remember all the outtakes.
Exactly, yeah.
All the behind the scenes.
Yeah, if I did something that you found really good and we were watching it together, and I'd be like, lad, honestly, you should have seen me then. Like, I was a fucking nightmare.
Do you know what I was thinking? Have you ever seen that meme from Wolf of Wall Street? Where he's like, that's me. I want to create a little reel.
That's from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Is it?
Yeah.
My bad. Let's do that again. We're doing that again. So do you know what I was thinking, Corin? You've seen that. We're doing that again.
It was funnier when you got it right.
Should I just keep it all in?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what you can decide that in the edit. But yeah, that thing.
I might make one of them reels with Corin and be like, he was on my podcast. Can you imagine, like, a year from now when potentially Corin gets even bigger roles, and then I'm selling my podcast to potential guests, and I'm like, Corin Silva's been on this. Like, why are you going to say no? Were you an SAS Rogue Heroes? And next thing you know, it's a selling point.
That's it. Great, yeah.
We give Corin some commission of the sponsorships if such a thing happens.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I love that. You know, the imperfections are some of the best parts, man. My latest podcast that just came out, and with Taban Shorosh, the beginning 2 minutes isn't even when we've started talking. It's just a fun little moment between me and her. And I have had so much positive feedback from people saying, dude, we just love that. It was natural. Because it's easy to just be like, hi, welcome to the podcast. It's Tuesday and Corin's in here. And it's another thing to like really get some chemistry with your guest. And so I might actually just keep those mistakes.
Yeah, man. I like them.
I haven't fully decided yet.
No, you can decide that in the edit. That's it. I think it'd be funny though.
You don't usually know until you do something, right? To see if it was good or bad. But I like that. So I want to ask you about your cameo in Boiling Point.
Oh, yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, man.
Another really great actor.
Wow, man, Stephen Graham.
Yeah,
incredible.
I mean, he's a gangster in Boardwalk Empire.
Oh yeah, the gangster, Al Capone. Yeah, no, he's amazing. He's amazing, and it was great to work on it. You know, it was only it was a 3-day shoot, and it was bloody
3 days, really.
Yeah,
for 30 minutes of content, 3 days. Wow.
Yeah, well, of course,
20 actually, less than
because it's a one taker in it. So we just we got there and we workshopped it about what everyone was going to do and where where he was going to walk as the chef, like in between the things and whatnot. Anyway, and we workshopped it, came up with the basic idea about what everyone was going to do and for how long. And then the next day we rehearsed it in the space. Everything we'd done the day before. We sat now in the cafe, in the restaurant, and the chefs were in the kitchen. And then the third day we shot it, and we did 4 or 5 takes.
So when you called it a
Matt Lewis.
one-taker,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
So the DP, Matt Lewis, and the director, Phil Barentini, they just, that was the whole idea of the thing. But Matt would follow it around as one shot, so one unbroken shot.
Wow. So essentially, you were recording for 20 minutes until it was done.
Yeah.
So I have an interesting question for that then. What happens if Corin or the main chef, Stephen Graham. I wanted to know how to pronounce his first name. What if he improvises a line? What if he gets it wrong? Do you just keep the one take?
Yeah, no, but that's it. The whole film was improvised.
Oh,
yeah. So
there's no lines.
No, the workshop at the start.
So why did you ask for burgers in the restaurant?
Because that was workshopped in.
Okay.
Yeah. So
why did you make his life harder?
Yeah. I was just there to be like a disgruntled, wanky, customer.
Oh, I've worked in hospitality. I have met people like your character.
Oh, no, so have I. Yeah. Of course. Yeah, so have I. But yeah. So I was just, and then we workshopped that on day 1. Day 2, rehearsed what we'd workshopped. Obviously, Stephen having loads of different bits to get to.
But he was improvising.
Yeah. So we improvised on day 1, and everyone improvised. Then day 2 got the improvisations more set in stone, but not fully in stone. And then day 3 filmed it all.
That's very interesting. I'm trying to remember now, because there were key moments. There's the moment where someone burns the fish. There's another one where the guy's not cooking properly. The waiter's coming in, getting a bit annoying. So I suppose there are footnotes of these moments will happen. You improvise around them. That is very interesting.
Yeah.
To be a part of a one-taker. That must be hard, though. So, okay, in a spoiler alert, in Boiling Point, you're sat with the rest of the guests. You're outside. But the people in the kitchen, I'm trying to get into their minds. The majority of the acting is done by the. Do you need any water?
Do you know, I might get a quick swig.
Lazo's podcast, Corin Silva getting water.